First experience in hockey was in Meadowlark Community League in Edmonton, in West Edmonton, and I was Richard. We were called Richards at that time. It wasn't Tom Thumbs. Probably after Rocket Richard, I would think at that time. And yeah, I remember being on the outdoor rink, skating around. First time I'd ever worn a can. And I remember just wondering what the heck was this thing for. I had no idea, so I made sure to fall on the ice a couple of times with my groin first. Just didn't give my dad a thumbs up. Yeah, it seems to be working, Dad, thanks. So that's probably one of my first memories ever. Oh, definitely hockey. Yeah, without a doubt. It was the game that I decided I wanted to be in the rest of my life. At the time, I thought I would be playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but that never came to fruition. But yeah, certainly hockey. Did it all the time. Probably just like the thing that comes to mind is going out to the rinks, the outdoor rink every day, and playing with my friends. I mean, after school, that's what we would do the majority of the time. And I don't have vivid memories of the teams I played for or the games I played in when I was really young, but I certainly remember the times going out in the snow and when it was snowing a lot and just playing for hours. The Eskimos beat the Alouettes in the Grey Cup, and there was, I think it was, I can't remember where it was, but there's a lot of snow that winter, and my parents were having a big party, and I remember them going for, after we won, they decided to celebrate, and they took off all their clothes, and they might have been drinking a little bit, took off all their clothes, and they did a victory lap around the block, and I thought that was pretty humorous. So that, I thought that was pretty crazy, so that was probably one of my favorites. I could probably answer that, both of those questions in one. I have an addiction to Coca-Cola, so it's probably my favorite food right now. Sometimes it's a good meal replacement for me, and I always have to have a can of Coke before every game. It's a little bit of a superstition, and I believe it gives me a little extra edge in terms of concentration. I love music. I love playing. I've played in a number of bands over the time, so that's something that I really enjoy. I find it complements hockey in a way, in that the creativity and the commitment to reaching goals and the practice and the commitment to getting better. I think that's good, but it also acts as a little bit of a release. Doing something completely different than hockey in some ways, I think, is really good. Helps me re-energize. Probably Australia. I spent a little time in Australia. Had the fortune of playing for the Macquarie Bears back in the early 90s. Hockey team there, and a lot of people can't believe when I tell them that there was hockey in Australia, but I had the opportunity to play there and met some great people and loved the country. Losing is probably my biggest phobia. I think a lot of people would probably, if they saw my CD collection, they'd probably think that I should be embarrassed about most of it because it's not your typical stuff. But I currently had I just have the memory of buying an ABBA CD it was a record way back in those days. I don't think I own it anymore, but I'm embarrassed to say that was the first album that I ever purchased, was an ABBA album. Probably easygoing for the most part, but at any moment might snap. Always living on the edge a little bit, I think, or behaving on the edge. But somebody that's caring and that has a passion for what they're doing. Friendly and easy to hang out with. I don't know, you'll have to ask them. Probably the same. I think generally speaking, I would hope that my players feel that I really care about them, not only as hockey players but as people. Care about what they do away from the rink and where they're going in their lives. the kind of people that they're developing into. I really care about that. But then once again, they probably also think that at any moment Howie could snap. So we got to make sure that we're doing our best to keep him happy. Coach Drake definitely would be an inspiration. I think not so much from the coaching standpoint, but from the leadership standpoint. I learned a lot from him as to how to conduct myself and how to behave and how to be a good person and how to work with people. So he's probably my biggest influence. Coach Bill Moores would be a very close second. Also had the pleasure of playing under him in my last year, but he was an assistant coach with Coach Drake for 3 years prior to that, with the time I played. So both of them have had a tremendous impact on my life and are probably very likely the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now and enjoying it. There's so many. I think we've had the chance to play in a lot of national championships and have won a number, and they've all been special in their own way. But probably the most memorable would have been the first national championship that we won. We knocked off the Concordia, who at the time they were the power in female hockey and had been for some years, and we got a little lucky. A player by the name of Corinne Swirsky, who was probably the best player in Canada at that time, or very close to it, was knocked. She got a misconduct late in the game in their semifinal. So as a result, we didn't have to see her in the final, and we ended up beating Concordia in a shootout to win. That was in the semifinal, so we didn't have to see her in the semifinal. So we beat Concordia in the semifinal, went on to beat McGill in the final, but probably the biggest memory was knocking off Concordia. I guess I could probably tell in terms of a sport memory, maybe the worst and yet maybe the best in some ways. The worst because I was knocked out in the national championship final. It was being aired on CBC at the time all across Canada when I played for the Bears in my first year. I was knocked out cold for about 3 minutes. In the second period, my team went on to win a national championship, so I have no recollection of that. So that's it's a memory really that is very, very vague for me. But flip side is everybody that seems to I'll still to this day I'll meet people and they'll remember Howie Draper. You were the guy that got knocked out in the national final on CBC back in '85 or whatever, '86. I would say that I'm probably a little bit between a task-oriented coach, one that really demands a lot and expects a lot from his players, that expects them to work as close to perfection as they can, knowing that perfection is ultimately unattainable, but really wants them to try and strive to be perfect in the little things that they do to be successful. But I also think that I'm a little bit player-oriented. I like to involve our players in the decisions, some of the decisions that we make, and I really appreciate their input. And I found that we've been most successful when our players have had that input and have helped steer the ship a little bit. So we have the benefit of being in a university where all of our coaches are outstanding mentors, and so I've had the chance to talk with people like Rob Dahm and Eric Thurston and now Stan Marple and Laurie Eisler and Trix Baker in the past, Terry Daniel. I mean, the list goes on and on. They're just outstanding people in their field, and it seems like I learn something new from them every day. Still get the chance to ask Coach Drake every now and then about something that might help me be better. And so there's that, and I think just learning from the players. They certainly help me become a better coach. They give me feedback regularly as to how I can improve and maybe things that I can do better. And most of it I'll take. Some of it I take with a grain of salt. But coaching is something that no matter what you do, you're always learning. Self-reflection is important, of course, as well. So it's just an ongoing process. I think if I look at my career and, if I can, when I'm 65 years old, I can look back and say that I've had an impact on as many people as Coach Drake has in a positive way, and maybe have had competitive teams, not necessarily national championship teams, but competitive teams that have, every year compete well. If I can do that, I think that would be, for me, that would be the pinnacle. I think if I wasn't fortunate enough to be a coach, I think I'd probably be playing in a band somewhere and making some money off of that. Well, that would be my dream job. I don't think I'm skilled enough as a musician or as a singer or songwriter to do that for a living, but that would be something that I would probably want to do. Getting up and playing in front of people is a lot of fun, and if you could do that for money and create music for money, I think that'd be a pretty good job. Well, it's been fantastic. Starting off as a player, I learned so much and grew so much in the 5 years that I played here. Went on to be involved with the Golden Bear Hockey Alumni Society, and in that I've had a lot of opportunity to work with people in athletics and at the University of Alberta, along with other past players of the Golden Bear Hockey program, and then getting in as a coach and getting to meet so many wonderful people. We talked about the coaches, but also the staff and people in the athletics office, and just the people around the faculty. It's a tremendous place to be every day, and it's so easy to find people that are positive. Everyone has off days, but here at the U of A, one of the unique things is that you might be having an off day, and somebody that you regularly get to see might be having an off day, but there's always somebody that's having a great day. It's the people are so varied and so unique, and that it really makes it quite interesting. And the other thing I always say too, being at the university is kind of like the fountain of youth, because there's so many young people around that are all vibrant, and they're just positively looking forward to their futures and living life to the extreme right now. So it really kind of helps keep you young